Hey there, how you doing today? It's Coach Chris and Karen at Fit School
Hello.
doing today's news because the news has gone crazy about nutrition. And if you didn't hear about the report or the article, I've got a quote here which summarizes it up pretty much word for word. And it says, a low fat diet was the biggest mistake in modern medical history, and we must reverse the message to reverse obesity and type 2 diabetes.
I think what was really interesting about it was how it was saying it was also a massive collaboration between the government and the food industry. That's why we've been sold this low fat diet. And to be fair, from some of the information that I've been looking at for the last few years, it does seem like it might be that way. So that there certainly might be some truth in that.
Yeah, but the problem with the assumption that the government tells us what to eat, even if there was a collaboration, is completely ridiculous.
Mm.
People do not eat that way. They don't eat more vegetables or eat less sugar because the government are making little plasticine cartoons on television saying eat less sugar, eat more vegetables. We don't eat that way. We don't eat as we are told to eat.
I think some people might have it in the back of their minds, but just do what they want to anyway.
Yeah, I don't know a single person who eats that way
My
at all.
mum.
But it's generational. She eats that way because her friends eat that way, and that's the thing is that we eat a certain way because we follow tribes and we follow celebrities or friends. Anecdote advice. Judy at the gym has lost 3 stone. Looks great. What's she done? Atkins. Well, I want to do that as well. Not knowing the evidence behind it. So we've kind of shortcutted going to people to get information which is based on science, and we're going to people and following what they do purely because we're familiar with them and we feel as if, oh, we're like Judy, so yeah, we'll try her diet, even though it might not even have any scientific basis whatsoever.
And also historically, I think the way media has been before the advent of social media, the stories that sold were always new diets, and that's far more sexy and sells more newspapers or magazines than boring old eat well, cook from scratch, eat clean food, go to the butchers, eat vegetables, which is all a bit middle of the road and not very sexy. Actually, what sells is something polarizing. Katie Hopkins sells, even though you might not agree with her. So if you think about the latest extreme or low fat diet like Katie Hopkins, would you do the Katie Hopkins diet necessarily? But that's really what it's the equivalent of.
Well, she did a show, didn't she, about how she put on 2 stone, 3 stone, and tried to lose the weight. And I like the show, not because of her, because I think she's one of the most deplorable characters I've ever witnessed, but great at what she does. But because her study was absolutely garbage. So she claimed for years that people just eat too much food, and that the obesity epidemic is because people have got no self control, and anyone can do that. So she force fed herself to put on, I think it was 3 stone, over a period of a few months, and I found that interesting because she struggled for the last 3 or 4 weeks to put the weight on and eat the amount of food.
Mm.
That's the problem. Imagine if you have no off button. People don't choose to be obese. They don't eat through the pain and the satiety. So they don't, when they feel full, they don't carry on eating
I
because
think
they're trying to force themselves. The off switch isn't there.
And
It's
I
not the
think
same.
that's what the key message is really, that today seems to be, oh, we found the answer to obesity, and it's the fact that low fat diets have made everyone fat, which is just not true.
No, but
Excuse me. I mean, there's masses of emerging science now about your gut microbes, stuff that we just simply still don't understand. So to come out and say that low fat diets have made everyone obese or have caused the obesity crisis is just, it's utter twaddle. I'm sure it's had some impact in people being more overweight, but it hasn't caused it.
no. And again, obesity is a very complex case. It's not a case of I'm half a stone overweight and just by eating 500 calories extra a week or a day, whatever it is, I then end up being obese. It doesn't work that way. If you're obese, you're at a point now where your body's not converting fats or sugars the same way as mine or your body is. It's not the same. That's not an excuse. That's a biological fact, right? Again, going back to being hungry and having the signals that tell your body that you're full, stop eating. I have those. I feel full, I stop. Some people don't have those. Your body producing, your brain producing hormones which say stop eating, stomach, you're done. Imagine not having those at all. Again, it's not an excuse. It's that these things are challenges for certain people. And then you look at genetic factors. So not our generation, but people having kids who have a start in life where they have challenges at storing body fat and being a certain weight. So I think it's an oversimplification of obesity. It's quite irresponsible from the media. The media say, hey, it's not our fault, we're just reporting the facts. I mean, what do we do about it? Well, no, actually, you're picking up the ball and you're running and scoring six
Although I think
tries.
what's interesting from it is that it has come from a health charity. So you always need to look at who's actually created the data, who's created the research. It's a health charity. Think about perhaps what they might want to get out of it. And I think what's key with this is it's not necessarily the answer. It's interesting. I think it's really interesting. And what's positive about it is that people are going to start questioning the sources of information a little bit more. And finally, someone has come out and categorically said low-fat diets are not good for you, and nor is low-fat food. And it's something that we've been preaching for some time, and I know lots and lots of people that have as well. But until it's kind of brought out like this and everyone starts talking about it, it's not necessarily something that everyone will latch onto. So I think there are positives from it, but it isn't the answer.
No, and I mean the other positives are talking about fat and cholesterol, and cholesterol in your body is produced. It's not just derived from fat in your diet or cholesterol in your diet. That's great, because for years eggs were demonized because they thought eating cholesterol causes cholesterol, but that doesn't then mean if you have high cholesterol, eating high fat is necessarily a good thing for your diet. So there is a lot of confusion. So don't read this or think that means I can just eat as much fat as I want, because it doesn't whatsoever. So,
but if you're interested in it, do a nutritional course. I think that's the answer. Do a course in nutrition, find out more information, rather than always feeling that you're being fed to from the media. There are ways that you can really empower yourself to fully understand this stuff.
Yeah, people taking responsibility is not just about recognizing that you are responsible for how you look and how your food is on the plate. It's your information and your education as well. And Karen said, go and do some courses in that. Come and speak to us. Luckily, everyone who we see at Fit School has been through one of our systems or classes or spoken to us one-on-one, and they have a better understanding of nutrition that works for them, rather than getting information from blogs or OK Magazine, because any celebrity can say anything about any diet unquestioned. And it's a great society that we live in. We can say that, freedom of speech, but it is utter nonsense how celebrity X can say I've lost 3 stone on a cabbage soup diet when there's absolutely zero evidence for that whatsoever, without being questioned about it whatsoever. So that's what you have to realise you're up against. Don't just think, oh wow, that's fantastic. I want you to be the kind of person who'll say, actually, what was she doing before she did this diet? How does she look throughout the year? Does she yo-yo with her weight? Is she an inspiring person? Does she cook for herself? Has she got an army of chefs? She's got personal trainers? Be naturally inquisitive and be skeptical.
Be your own diet detective.
Absolutely.
Look through the stories and see who's created the statistics.
You got to sniff these things out. So hopefully not too confused anymore. If you are, please feel free to get in touch with us, because we're more than happy to help educate better. Help educate you better, so you just don't feel confused when this stuff comes out, because we'd love you to pick up a paper or an article, see that report and think, that's interesting. You put it down and you use it as a coaster for your cup of coffee in the morning, because that's really all it deserves. Okay, that's Coach Chris, Karen, over and out with. Take care.
Good night.